So, what do you think about the children's future? How do you see them in 10 years?
Well, it's tough. It's not easy. I'm very optimistic that we have been able to rehabilitate about 300 odd children in the shelter home. Shining example is Pintu here. Pintu is a shining example. Mr. Modi is working with me for a number of years, and she's very motivated in education of these children, because from the long-term perspective, it's not just healthcare. They need to be educated, they need to get some vocational job skills, and they should get some gainful employment. And therefore, it's a long way out, and those children we find are good and they are in our shelter home, they are going into formal schools, and those children who graduate, they incentives Mr. Modi has already provided. I mentioned Pintu is now going to do a computer bachelor's in computer application. And you can see that after he does that, and if he does more, I mean, he's a superstar already. A job is waiting, computers, information technology is rising, and it depends on the particular interest. And some children have been rehabilitated in export houses and in sewing machines and doing things which they like to do. That's the main basic thing, you know. Many children are gainfully employed in hotels, industries, and a couple of them were actually trained for that. One of the child was very interested in dance, you know what happened to him. Yavar, we know what happened to that child who was a good dancer. He went to Shramak Dhawat School of Dance. Yeah, he became a professional dancer, and it's amazing, you know. But many see, these are drop-in centers, and we have an open door policy. It's up to the children also how they grab and seize this opportunity. There's a lot of distractions for them, and many children actually slip through the cracks and they disappear, they go wherever, and they are runaway kids. There's many of them with no parental background, or they are from broken families, very poor, come from the neighbor cities of Delhi, and sometimes very far away, as far as Bangladesh and in Kolkata, in Bengal, and Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. So these children, when they come here, they are at the time they come for search of livelihoods. They have been told that they will get jobs and good future, but when they come here, they don't have any skills, job skills. So if we don't do anything for them, they are actually exploited and abused. A lot of these children I have seen have had experience of sexual abuse, in terms of physical abuse by employers, and they've had emotional trauma. And one of the things very important to see is that they are able to be emotionally rehabilitated to make life more pleasing and fun for them before you can think of more formal education and vocational curriculum for them. But once they are, I think what we have figured out with the help of Mr. Modi is that at least many children should actually try to get education till class 8, for example. You know, formal education, there are open schools, you know, National Indian Open School Program, where if a child has never been to a formal school, they can, after some straight away apply to grade 5, 6, 8, try to give them assistance through tuitions and help, and see if they can get some formal education before they get geared to. There is a computer education program, you've seen the rooms, there are also different ways children can be rehabilitated. Some of these children have been absorbed within the program, and so future is much better than just nothing while on the streets. And you know, there are more than 18 million of these children. So what we're doing is a drop in the ocean. It's not something that we can't claim to have achieved rehabilitation. But I think the root cause of all this problem in India is poverty, and also it is lack of education and lack of learning and vocational training. So I think if more and more such programs are available, and children have successfully protected within the home environment, nothing like it. We used to have a home repatriation program here also a couple of years ago, where we would repatriate. So more than about 250 odd children were successfully rehabilitated back to their families. But there were some cracks in that program. That 25% of them or more would come back on the streets despite being going to their families. So it's a very big social problem. It needs a human general solution, and it's not a very straightforward solution.